Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Curtain Call Podcast. I am your host, as always, Irish Neep, and I'm joined by JR. Too sweet, throw it up if you got it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode. Today, we're going to be discussing the better pay-per-view of November 2021. We got Survivor Series versus Full Gear. We're just going to get right into it. I just want to wish everyone a happy holidays. We took a little bit of time off for Thanksgiving and stuff like that, but we're going to keep it rolling. We always kick out at 2. I'm getting that out of the way now. But JR, why don't you start us off? This is going to be a good episode, man.
Yes, it is, man. What's going on, everybody? A couple shout outs. Mr. T, we got King, we got Ann, we got King Nahi, we got Nano the Emperor. A lot of people that are leaving comments on the YouTube, and we appreciate that. We want to hear more of your suggestions, what you guys would like to hear. But today we're going to talk about who had the better month of November, which is very, very, very it's very shocking, probably, what you're going to hear. And remember, we always have to disclose that this is our opinion. Obviously, there's a lot of people that disagree or that agree, and we appreciate you guys' feedback. So we're going to get right into it. So as we all know, to give you a recap, we gave AEW Full Gear, we gave them a 4 out of 5 star rating for the entire show. I think that the highest grade I gave was the 5-star match for Kenny Omega. And I believe, Jordan, if I'm not mistaken, you gave them a 5 as well, right?
Yeah, correct. 5-star. Yep, 100%.
All right, so we're going to go right into the Survivor Series. Now, the kickoff show, we had the champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, against Damien Priest. It was a 9-minute and 25-second match. Of Shinsuke won. We called it. We said that Shinsuke would win. Even though it was by disqualification, Shinsuke did pick up the victory. And it looked like we were also getting a heelish kind of Damien Priest. I gave the match a 3.25. I thought it was a pretty solid match. They hit each other pretty hard. I knew it was going to be a physical match. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I think 3.25 is very valid as a final ranking. You were spot on. You said this might not be the best match of the card, but definitely the most stiff, brutal, hard-hitting. You really hit the nail on the head with that one. I would agree with you. I probably, I probably said a 3.25, maybe a 3.5 if I'm being a little, handing out a little bit. But it was a good, solid match to start off the whole show. Both those guys obviously can work their asses off. Nobody's questioning that. And yeah, we got a little bit of something with Damien. I don't know where they're going to be going with this. But we kind of got a little something. I'll be interested to see his long-term storytelling. Hopefully they don't jump right into it. Hopefully they kind of take their time, because I feel like with a good character, good storylines, he could be a top star maybe someday. But only time will tell. But yeah, a solid match to start off the show, no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at the both kickoffs of both shows, in the AEW Full Gear, the kickoff they had Thunder Rosa tag team against Nyla Rose. Thunder Rosa and them picked up the victory. I believe we gave it a 3.0, 3.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of balanced each other out. The major difference was the storytelling in the Shinsuke Nakamura and Damien Priest match, which was pretty awesome. But all in all, I think the number was pretty solid. When we go into the second match, the start of the show, it kind of caught me off guard that they were going to start this way. They really started with a bang, because I knew that this match was probably going to be the match of the night. And that's your Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, against the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. I'm sorry, reverse that. It's the Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte, against the SmackDown champ, Becky Lynch. 18 minutes and 15 seconds. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, so regardless of what you think, kayfabe, real, whatever, the storytelling on this has been incredible. Like, whether it's by design or by accident or backstage heat, whatever it is, the storytelling on this was phenomenal. And we knew this was going to be the best match on the whole card. We said that right off the bat of our predictions video, and we were spot on. Like, the fact that they started with the best match on the card really opened the show. I mean, these two are phenomenal. I've been saying it for a while. Regardless of what you think about Charlotte, she's one of the best to ever do it, I think. I'm just putting that out there. Becky, like I said, I've said multiple times that Becky hasn't hit the same since she's come back. I'll give her that. But this feud, this story is incredible. like I said, regardless if it's real, if it's not real, that's kind of the fun in all of it is we don't know if it's real or not. But yeah, they put on an incredible match. 18 minutes is a lot of time for a women's match, but rightfully so. They deserved it. And yeah, I mean, just what a way to start the show.
You know, out of all the matches that we're going to talk about here this evening, this is the one match that I think that I'm really going to talk a lot about. And this is why. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair was the first match on the pay-per-view. AEW's first match, if you remember, was Darby Allin and MJF, which was a 21-minute match. And we agreed that we gave it about a 3.5, 3.5 or so, or 3.25. First of all, Charlotte coming out, wow, she is amazing. You know that she knows that we all know that she knows she's the queen. The way she carries herself, if it is not Ric Flair-esque, I don't know what is. She looks amazing. But when Becky came out, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. First of all, she's gorgeous. She didn't come to the ring like typical Becky Lynch. She came laser focused, knew that she was going to be the Irish last kisser. She was going to go in there and do her thing against Charlotte Flair. It was a very, very physical match. I like the way my son pointed out to me, or my wife, one of the two said, oh, wow, she's dressed like Scarlet Witch. Look at the boots. And it was a good nod to that. They have some really, really stiff moments. There were some moments, I don't know if you remember the time that Becky had Charlotte on the ground and stepped over her like Charlotte had stepped over her previously. And Charlotte kind of grabbed her foot and she kind of kicked. Those punches, they looked really, really on point. And regardless of what, like you said, regardless of the heat that they have backstage with each other or how personal it is, if they've had a falling out that they're no longer best friends like they used to, if that's the case, then they did really good business. My hats off to these two ladies because we've seen in the past wrestlers not do good business with each other because they have heat. Charlotte took the pinfall. She went. Becky Lynch went ahead and got over, holding on to the ropes. But it was a very solid match. Very solid match. Definitely the match of the night. And I'm not afraid to say it. Man, I gave it a 5-star. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The match was that damn good.
Yeah. I'd probably give it a 4.5 just because I'm always looking for something else. But hey, a 5-star, I can easily see your discussion about that. But I gave it a 4.5. Incredible. Like you said, the fact that regardless what's going on backstage, regardless what's been going on between them, at the end of the day, if you stay professional, they can both do just incredible work. And I mean, just such a great way to start the show. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. The build was lackluster to this show. And the fact that they started with that and just stole the show right off the bat, incredible.
The promo package in the beginning was amazing, too. The way they set that video up and the way they showed them from NXT. I'm telling you, the story writes himself. Yeah. I do not mind if they figure out a way to get these two women as one of the main events at WrestleMania because I definitely want to see it again.
I think before we move on, I think that Charlotte and Becky could be the female version of Sammy and Kevin Owens.
Absolutely.
They could go back and forth for years to come and it'll still be good.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you anymore. They're amazing. Forget about them being females. They're probably, that was probably, in my opinion, number one, it was the best female match of the year in any company. I'll argue that with anyone, in any company. But it's damn near probably the best match we've seen all year in wrestling, period. They really did their thing. I was very impressed. The men's Survivor Series match was a 29-minute, 56-second match. Seth Rollins was a sole survivor for his Raw team as SmackDown took the L. How did you feel about it?
Are we going to talk about Kevin Owens?
That's the man. First of all, I loved it. I love what he did.
Yep. Are we, is this foreshadowing? Is this a little foreshadowing for January? Or are they just playing into it a little bit and kind of being like, hey, we know his contract's coming up. We're going to be kind of poking at it a little bit. But is this foreshadowing? Is it?
I'm going to be honest with you. And I can already hear people saying, JR, you're a mark for WWE. No, I'm a mark for wrestling. Okay? There is a part of me very strong that feels that somehow they're going to find a way to keep him.
Okay.
And I believe that if they can take, like we had talked about in a previous show, if they can take the handcuff off of some of these wrestlers and allow them to be themselves, they can really, sky's the limit on what they can do. Kevin Owens is one of those guys. That being said, the Survivor Series match itself was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think it probably went a little too long, but the storytelling is the main thing. And I don't know what you gave it, but I gave it a 4.25 because I thought that the storyline, it's crazy. It got better and better as the time went on. And of course, Seth getting the win, there isn't no other way I would have probably wrote that. It was good. It was a really good Survivor Series match.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. Very solid match overall. I do agree it went a tad long, but I did think now Seth was obviously, I knew Seth was probably going to come out on top, but they had me for a minute thinking that Hardy was going to pull it out. So I give them credit for that. It's always nice when they can kind of have you second guessing where you think you might know, but then you go, I don't know, Hardy might have this. So I give them a lot of props for that. But yeah, I gave it a 4. Like I said, it might have had, maybe 3 to 4 minutes more than it should have, but overall still a decent, good match. All the talent in there was great. And yeah, Seth, I think that was pretty, everyone knew Seth was going to come out on top.
Yeah, and then when you look at the counterpart to Full Gear's match, third match was the Lucha Brothers versus FTR. It was a 19-minute match, which we gave it about a 3. So it really shows you. I mean, I hate to keep saying it, storytelling is where it's at, and I thought it was a good match. Now, your favorite match of the evening, the Rock 25-man Battle Royal.
Yeah.
So we had almost winning the Battle Royal in a 10-minute and 45-second match. Tell me what your thoughts on it.
Okay, let's be real. This was nothing but product placement, okay? Let's just be honest here. This is to show off their deal with, was it Pizza Hut or whatever? Like this, they zoomed in on the pizza box, I swear, 12 times. They teased the announcers wanting a slice, and it was product placement. Let's be real. And there was no doubt in my mind that Omos was going to get the win, or however you pronounce his name. This is a throwaway. This is what I call hashtag certified bathroom break. This meant nothing. It was all just to get the brand and get your brand money. That's all it was. Let's be honest.
Yeah, when you look at it, it went up against around this time was the Britt Baker match, which we really didn't give it too high hopes either. We gave that Britt Baker match about a 2. This match I gave it about a 2.25. But I didn't like the match. I thought it was kind of boring in the beginning. It picked up towards the end where it made you think Ricochet might have a chance. The crowd really, if you listen or you go back and watch it, the crowd really got into it towards the end. I mean, it was amazing how much they got into it. And I think that they placed it very well because they had a solid match with Damien Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura. Then all of a sudden, Charlotte comes out and does her thing with Becky Lynch. Then all of a sudden, the men's battle royal happened. They had to bring the crowd down a little bit because they knew that they had some good matches going in. And we don't know if they didn't know if the crowd would be up the whole time. You know, that New York crowd is very fickle. They can flip back and forth. And there was some CM Punk chants and all that like that. But when it got into the meat and potatoes of the other wrestling matches later on in the card, they really got excited and got more involved in it. So I think the Battle Royal was well placed. But of course, it was just, it was what it was, man. It was what it was.
All about the product placement, man. But going back, you said, it aligned with the Britt Baker match. Let's just touch on that. We did it in our results video. It was obvious Britt Baker was taking that. The match was nothing that special. I will say that I felt like it was a little bit lackluster of a typical Britt Baker match. I don't know if that's their chemistry or lack of, I should say, but it definitely didn't hold up to a typical Britt Baker match. But yeah, there was no second guessing that she was going to retain. It's kind of a throwaway match, in my opinion, as far as a title defense. But yeah, I mean, like I said, 2 stars for the Britt Baker match. That's about right. Two 2.5 maybe for the Battle Royal. But yeah, they were both eh.
Yeah. So then after that, we had RK Bro, the Raw champs versus SmackDown champs, the Usos, 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Randy Orton's so good.
Yeah.
Randy
Yeah,
Orton is so, and Riddle is so amazing. You could see him getting better and better every time. I think it was perfect that they put him with Randy Orton so Randy could kind of show him. Randy getting the record of most matches and pay-per-views and then turning around on Raw. I mean, the guy is so amazing. That finish or that RKO, man, that was so good, man. We both said that we thought the Usos would win. Of course, RK Bro wins with that amazing RKO. I gave it a 4-star match. I thought it was amazing storytelling. Randy is so good, and the Usos, by far, probably, in my opinion, the best tag team out there.
Yep, 100%. Like I said, that was one of the predictions I got wrong. I was assuming that they were going to run with the bloodline until Roman lost. I assumed that they would just run the table. Usos and Roman wouldn't lose for a long time. Obviously, I was wrong. But hey, RK Bro is doing their thing. Like you said, Randy Orton is continuously showing that he can reinvent himself. You can throw him because when they first put him with Matt Riddle, I was like, this is an odd pairing. But then it works. It works. Like you get some kind of comedy from Matt Riddle, and then you kind of have Randy Orton like kind of shrugging it off. But then sometimes he'll like feed into the comedy a little bit. And like I said, Randy Orton just I'm liking that Randy Orton's getting his flowers before he's done. People are respecting him now. People have for a while, but people are more so as he keeps doing his thing. He continuously can be put in these great tag teams or factions or whatever else, and he holds his own. Yeah, I get 4 stars is my thought as well. Great match. Like I said, I wanted the Usos to win, but hey, RK Bro does their thing, and I was not upset being wrong at that prediction. So yeah, good match in my opinion.
And how funny is Matt Riddle? He comes out the next night on Raw with a fake mustache and goatee and puts on a heck of a match. And just mimics Randy Orton to the best. It reminded me of Mizdow, the way Damien Sandow would throw himself out of the ring over the top ropes and stuff. Randy Orton is amazing. Matt Riddle is amazing. That match went up. If you look at the lineup of the pay-per-view, went up against the Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk match. I gave that match a 4.5. I believe you had agree with me, or you probably gave, I think you gave it a 4.5 as well. So both matches kind of did well in the placement and all that. But it wasn't a long match, but man, they got their stuff in. They hit it right on, and they kept the crowd into it. The crowd was into it really the whole match. The Women's Survivor Series match. It was a 23-minute, 45 seconds match. Bianca Belair wins for the Raw team. I'm going to just say it real quick. The crowd started turning on Bianca when she was kind of winning at the end. And because they kind of felt like, okay, they're pushing her down our throats as well. I noticed that there were a lot of boos going on there. I gave it a 3.5. It was okay. It wasn't better than the men's. I thought it probably went too long because you could have gave that time a little bit more to one of the other matches maybe. But what do you think?
Yeah, it was a solid enough match. I'm with you, and it was in New York, correct? And New York is one of those fan bases, not on the level of like a Chicago or anybody like that, but New York is typically a diehard fan base. And I was a little shocked to hear some boos coming in because I agree with you that maybe they're shoving her down our throats a little bit, but normally a New York or a Chicago or somebody like that, those crowds tend to appreciate good work regardless of heel, face, or whatever else. So I was a little shocked about the boos coming in, but I guess that is what it is. I had SmackDown winning this in my prediction, so I was wrong on this one too. But yeah, an okay enough match. You're right. I think on a few matches on this card, they went a little longer than they probably should have. A lot of filler, a lot of stuff that probably doesn't need to be in the match. Decent match. I'll give it a 3. Okay match. Some storylines came out of it. It was some decent storytelling, but yeah, it was nothing too special, but a decent enough match to be enjoyable. Now
we went all the way up to the main event. The main event of the evening, we had your SmackDown champ, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, versus your Raw champ Big E in a 21-minute, 55-second match. It was a very good storytelling match between the two. They were hard hitting. There were some good spots. I was a bit concerned on how long, how much Roman Reigns got his stuff in. Like, Roman had a lot of offense. Like, he really had a lot of offense. We knew that Big E wasn't going to win the match. I thought it was still a decent match. I gave it a 4.5 because I thought it was some good false finishes, which at one point I was watching, I said, oh, snap, Big E's going to take this. And Roman always finds a way. I love the storyline that they're doing with Roman Reigns. Tell me what you think. What's your rating?
So I give this match a 4. It was a good match, and I have a question for you. You said that Roman had a lot of offense in. Do you think that was by design to maybe build Big E as more of a threat? Like Roman had to put in more offense to kind of keep Big E down? Do you think that was by design?
Well, here's the issue that I have with Roman having so much offense. Everyone knows that Roman's not going to lose this match. And when I think of WWE champions, forget about the title, the exact title name. Let's talk about the champions. I think of Roman Reigns. I think of Big E as a secondary champion. So I knew that now you got to feed Big E. You got to make him look monstrous if you want people to remotely think of him as a dominant champion. Yeah. If they would have gave them each enough opportunity or the same amount of time in getting their offense in on one another, I think would have been better. But by them getting Roman so much offense, and then Big E has that, House of Fire comeback and that hot comeback, and then loses, you really got to feed Big E, man. And then what's next now? What's next now? Now the whole entire night, they were talking about this egg, and everybody's laughing and saying, "Oh, this is what's wrong with WWE and the egg and all that." Let me tell you, the whole Survivor Series was to announce one thing. And it was like you had told me a couple weeks back that I had disagreed with you, but I completely agree with you. The whole thing was about The Rock.
Yeah.
The whole thing was about The Rock. The whole pay-per-view was about The Rock. There was no video. I love the fact that they didn't even have a video package of The Rock saying thank you to the people. I'm glad they did it because it made people want to see The Rock even more. At the end of the night, let's get it out the way. Raw wins the night with 5 wins out of 7. The only 2 wins by SmackDown was the DQ win by Shinsuke and, of course, Roman Reigns. So the whole show, I gave it a 4.5. I thought it was a solid show, Jordan. I really did. But now the question is, where do they go from here, and how do they set up The Rock's return? I honestly thought The Rock's return was going to be in Hollywood at next year's WrestleMania. It looks like it might be this year at one of the 2 nights in Texas. What's your full grade for the WWE Survivor Series 2021? And what do you think about this Rock making his return?
Yeah, so I gave the full show a 4. I think 4 is a viable option. I think a lot of that is the fact that we weren't expecting much of this show at all. Like I said, the build was lackluster. I think the announcing teams on Twitter was ridiculous. Please never do that again. Stick with your qualifying matches. I don't think anybody had any issues with those. Don't announce them on Twitter, because then if you're not on Twitter or something, you turn on Monday Night Raw the next night and, oh, there you go, the teams are announced already, and you're like, well, when did that happen? Like the casual fan's not going to know that. So yeah, I gave it a 4. It was way better than it was built up to be. Match quality was good. Like you said, a few of them ran a little long. There was some filler in some matches, but overall good matches, good storytelling. You're right. The whole night was about The Rock, but there was still no Rock. So I don't know. I keep saying that I don't want him to come back if they're going to make it for the title. I say if he comes back, just make it about the bloodline, make it about head of the table, because if there's no good outcome if it's for the title. The Rock wins, we have a part-time champion. Roman retains, he's champ for another year and some change. There's no good outcome if you make it for the title, in my opinion. I don't know. Do we see maybe because The Rock could come if it's for the head of the table, he could come back literally at any show and be like, "Hey, I'm the head of the table. I've been doing this longer than you have." If it's not, do we see him maybe 30th at the Royal Rumble? I mean, there's multiple routes that you could take, I guess, if you're going to bring The Rock back. But yeah, I don't know. And I'm not even going to talk about the egg. I really don't even want to discuss that because that's just 2021 Vince McMahon for you. But yeah, I don't know where they go from here with The Rock, man. I really don't know. Like I said, I've been saying for a while, ever since the rumor started, that I don't want to see him. And if they do see him, I don't want to see him for the title, go for the title. But yeah, it's going to be rough. Maybe Royal Rumble. I don't know. If it's going to be for head of the table, he could just come back at any given show and just say, hey, this has been mine. I've been doing this longer. I don't know. I really don't know where they go from here. It's hard to narrow down a scenario that makes sense.
So look, I agree with you in a sense where I don't think The Rock should be fighting for the title because I don't think anything comes out of it. So the question I have for you is, would you prefer, number one, that if The Rock does come back to fight Roman Reigns, number one, we agree that it shouldn't be for the title, right?
Right.
So do you think that Roman should drop the belt at Royal Rumble?
No. Roman's not losing that until a WrestleMania. It's not happening.
So then we go back to, then we know that Roman's not going to lose at WrestleMania.
If it's against The Rock.
So do you think that The Rock will beat him at WrestleMania?
But then what? We get a part-time champion. That's what I'm saying. There's no.
To me, it does not. Any scenario with that any scenario that includes the title doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I almost prefer that Roman loses the belt and may let it be something like he loses because at the Royal Rumble, as he's wrestling, whoever it is, insert name right there, whoever it is, The Rock's music hits and he comes out, distracts Roman. Roman gets rolled up. He's pissed off because he lost his belt and he calls, bull, whatever. And instead of going after the title, say, you know what? No, I want my cousin The Rock, so I can show him that I'm the head of the table at WrestleMania. And after WrestleMania, the very next night on Raw or SmackDown, that very next show, I want my title rematch. And then he can regain his title or whatever the case may be. But I don't want to see The Rock as a champion. I don't think that there's a reason why we should do that. But the problem with this whole thing is the storyline is so good with Roman Reigns. No one can think of somebody that can take the title off of him because it doesn't make sense there's no one you can say. And I know you've been saying Walter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense.
No,
because there's nothing there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm stumped on this one. But I will say this. Overall, who had the better show in your opinion? AEW Full Gear, WWE Survivor Series. In your opinion, you said overall you gave WWE 4 out of 5. You said overall you gave AEW 4 out of 5. What is it?
Okay, so I need to say this before we go any further. Obviously, we were comparing the better show. We talked a lot about Survivor Series in this episode. The only reason we did that is because we didn't have a full review of it. This is still comparing the two shows. So if I give them both 4 stars, both good shows, right? I think we can both agree with that. Both great shows. But I'm going with, it's tough, man. I'm going with Full Gear. I think the storytelling was great on Full Gear. I think the match quality was good across the board. A lot of them didn't have the filler that Survivor Series did. There were some long matches on Full Gear, but I feel like they used their time better in those matches. I thought the storytelling was better with Eddie Kingston not shaking Punk's hand, going out. Kind of Hangman looking over at the Bucks kind of eyeing him on. That, like, a lot. I think the future Full Gear set it up better for long-term storytelling. And now obviously after the fact, now we have MJF and Punk, which is going to be phenomenal. It already is. But I'm going Full Gear, but honestly, not by a whole lot. I'm going to say Full Gear for better storytelling, using the time better in their matches. but not by a whole lot. But yeah, I'm going full gear on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts because I think you might say Survivor Series on this one. But I'm going full gears. The better show of November 2021. Better match quality. Use their time better. Better future storylines to set up for future pay-per-views. Those are my final thoughts about it. But let me know what you think.
So here's the thing. AEW, in my opinion, has been running the better show.
Yeah.
They have been running the better show. I think the best product that WWE has right now, surprisingly to me, besides the Roman Reigns storyline, is NXT 2.0. I
100%.
really think NXT is really good. Braun Breaker, we agreed that he is the star in the making. He's amazing. I didn't expect anything out of this Survivor Series. When we talked about it, we both said, it's just a Survivor Series. We're not thinking too much into it. And then Survivor Series happened. I have to give the win this month to WWE. And this is the reason why. The storytelling in every single match made sense. They were doing move sets when the move sets needed to be done and weren't doing it just to do it, which is different than what WWE has done in the past in their matches, where a lot of these guys are doing move sets and this and this and that to get their stuff in. And this time it wasn't like that. I noticed that there was more selling being done. And when you got kicked in the face, you went down, as opposed to when you look at AEW, when they had their match, for example, with the Young Bucks, that they had their match, there was like 5 kicks thrown in between 2 people and none of them went down until the end. Usually I would give the nod to AEW. I really would. But in this case, I really have to go with WWE. I think they did a good follow-up when they showed Raw and when they went into SmackDown. You can kind of see this is where the road to WrestleMania starts, where the stories start picking up and everything starts falling into place, and it's exciting this time of year to be watching WWE Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. But for the month of November, man, I got to disagree with you, but I think that's the great thing about this show, because we agree on a lot of stuff, but this is one thing I think that we both take 2 separate paths. I gave WWE, they had less matches on Survivor Series than Full Gear, which I enjoy that because it allowed them to be able to focus more on those matches as opposed to just screaming through things. But yeah, I got to give the show to WWE, the month of November to WWE. But yeah. I have something to say before you rebuttal.
Okay.
I've been watching a lot of people, listening to a lot of people and reading what they're saying about Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw is hard to watch. I think we can agree it's hard to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last week, I'm sitting down watching Monday Night Raw again. But it didn't dawn on me until Wednesday when I went back. Wednesday, I was off. And I went back and watched Monday Night Raw. And what I did was I have all of wrestling recorded on my DVR, all of AEW, all of SmackDown, NXT, Monday Night Raw. And I went back and watched it, Jordan. And when I took away all the goofiness of Monday Night Raw, all the stuff that we scratch our head about, and I took those and I timed everything and I pushed it to the side and looked at the good stuff of Monday Night Raw, it was exactly 1 hour and 56 minutes of really good action, which tells me one thing. Monday Night Raw needs to go back to 2 hours. Yep. If Monday Night Raw goes back to 2 hours, we're not discussing who has the better show. We're not.
Yeah.
What gives Monday Night Raw the bad taste in people's mouth is they have 1 hour that they have to fill with nonsense. Yeah. But if you take that, we don't have that issue with SmackDown. We don't. SmackDown's a great show. But if you take away that goofiness of 1 hour, you'll be able to appreciate that show a lot better. And they need to get away from doing, my opinion, they need to get away from doing pay-per-views every month. I think every other month is probably the way to go. It builds the storylines better. We don't have a pay-per-view in the month of December for WWE, but we have one on January 1st. But I think they need to go to every other month. Think about it. If you take away Raw for 1 hour and it goes back to 2 hours, and you do it from 9 o'clock to that 11 o'clock, and give it a little edginess to it, and then you do a pay-per-view every other month, I think you could say that things could change a lot for it.
Yeah, you're definitely right about the 3 hours to 2 hours. It's all filler, man. A lot of that is just filler, and it's dumb comedy segments or 24/7 title stuff. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And people have been saying that for a few years now since they went to 3 hours, that it was quite unnecessary. When they first announced it, it's like, oh wow, another whole hour of wrestling. That's great. And then when you see that they're just not using it properly, you're just like, God, this is it's not what we wanted it to be. And looking back now, wrestling doesn't need to be 3 hours on a Monday. 2 hours is a good time slot for wrestling. No more, no less. But yeah, I'm with you. I think there's just a lot of filler in that 3 hours. And I will say that I'm with you on the every other month pay-per-view. I also think they should, this is kind of a little side, going off the side, but I also think they should bring back the unique pay-per-view sets. I know that would kind of spice up the pay-per-views every other month, but I'm getting kind of tired of the same generic set every month. It at least brings a little bit more excitement to it. But yeah, I'm with you on that. And going back to our overall reviews, we can disagree, but I think we can agree that overall November was a great month for wrestling in general. Absolutely. Both companies put on week to week solid shows. Pay-per-views were both good. So just November in general was a good month for wrestling. Definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah, no pay-per-view in December might be a good thing. And we'll see, start, January with the Royal Rumble. It's really the road to WrestleMania going forward. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, there's not much we can say. Like I said, both shows were good. I got Full Gear. You got Survivor Series. Everyone listening or watching on YouTube, let us know what you thought down below. As always, consider giving us a subscribe, a like. If you're on YouTube, turn on the bell so you never miss an upload. If you're on Spotify, we appreciate you listening as always. Yeah, let us know what you thought about November. Let us know going forward what you're excited for. Also, let us know what you think this whole Roman thing is going to go. That's kind of the talk of WWE lately, is what they're going to do with Roman, if The Rock's coming back, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, we appreciate the support. JR, anything else you got to say before we kick it off, man?
One thing that we need to keep an eye out for, December 5th, NXT War Games.
Yep.
I think that's going to be a really, really solid show.
Yeah, I think we should. We'll definitely do a predictions video and then a review of that, because I think that's going to be a phenomenal event for sure for them.
Absolutely, and we like Jordan said, we appreciate everybody leaving the comments, subscribing. We took a little break there for the Thanksgiving. We're coming back with these shows. You can rest assured that we're going to have a show for you every week. We'll have one out. We'll also get one for your Spotify's and things like that, the audios, the fast counts. We appreciate all the love and support, all the comments. Go ahead and keep liking the video, commenting what you disagree with. Give us your rundown on things. Give us topics that you would like to hear. We have some great things working that we're getting ready to launch here with the Curtain Call podcast. So for this past November and this past Thanksgiving, I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you all spent it with your family. It's good to see that we're getting back into the rhythm of having whatever normality it was before the whole pandemic started. And I know that we'll keep saying this until the time comes, but I really hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, wonderful New Year's. And we're going to keep saying that in every episode until we get through the new year. So we appreciate all the love and support. Of course, like I said, and a special message a toda mi gente latina. Le agradecemos su apoyo, le agradecemos la manera que ustedes han demostrado el amor y cariño de este nuevo show podcast con yo y mi amigo Jordan aquí, y estamos aquí para servirles. So, en lo que necesitan, por favor, dale like, haga los comentarios y toca la campanita para que te puede seguir llegando las notificaciones de este show. So thank you again. Jordan, hit them off, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, man, we took a little bit of a break, but that doesn't mean anything. We're hitting the ground running. We're back and better than ever. A little break doesn't hurt every once in a while. You know what I mean? But like I said, throw it up if you got it too sweet. Just say it.
We always kick out at 2.
Peace.